Hey, what is going on, everyone? This is Durrani and Connor from VG247.com, and we are going to be doing a review for Rainbow Six Extraction. Connor is doing the full review over at VG247.com. Go and read that. Connor, take it away, man. Rainbow Six Extraction, go ahead.
Rainbow Six Extraction from Ubisoft Montreal is sort of like a crossover between Rainbow Six Siege, that tactical military sort of like FPS gameplay that fans of the series know and love, the sort of sci-fi twist to it with this alien parasite that's taken over parts of the USA. Overall, I think the game is pretty good. I'm still at this point, before my review, need to try out Assignment's Maelstrom Protocol, which are these endgame modes. But I think at the core, the game's, it's all right. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and I will say that we cannot get to the Maelstrom Protocol areas because they're incredibly hard when you're by yourself. And of course, the servers are not populated yet, so we can't try them because we've got review copies.
Yeah, it's worse than that. You're not even allowed to do it solo. You have to squad up, which is a big thing about this game. It's very much squad focused.
Yeah.
But let's go back to that context, like the foundation of the game first. It's built on the same engine as Rainbow Six Siege, which many of you may know as this pretty popular FPS that's been out for a while. It tries to bring the same level of attention that Rainbow Six usually gives to the military sim, to the sort of tactical breach and clear sort of gameplay, to all this science and sci-fi stuff. And it does, to a degree, achieve that. It does help the game feel in universe while not being too out there away from the roots of the series.
To counteract that, I would say that it might feel a little bit too samey. It might feel a little bit too familiar for a lot of people that might have been playing Rainbow Six Siege for a long time. It's nice that Siege players were able to jump in and go ham straight away. But some players, I feel, might say, "Ooh, this could have been a limited time event in Rainbow Six Siege," because that's where Rainbow Six Extraction spawned from, basically.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of like a balancing act at the center of this game where they're trying to stick to their roots and they're also trying to do this kind of weird, wacky sci-fi thing. And I do think that sameness you mentioned is kind of one of the sacrifices they've unfortunately ran into. It doesn't do a lot vastly different aside from some of the tech you unlock in terms of your character's loadout and the gunplay. It's very, very familiar to those who have played Rainbow Six.
Yeah, but as you said, Rainbow Six's gunplay and weapon play is fantastic.
Yeah.
So the gunplay, everything feels great.
Absolutely. If you like peeking around corners, taking things nice and slow, taking enemies out one at a time for like hitting their weak spots, you'll absolutely feel at home here. Even if it might feel a bit samey.
Yeah. We have a Let's Play video also, which I recommend everyone go and watch. I did say, so we done 3 levels, 3 incursions in that Let's Play. And the first one, we went a bit gung-ho, just run around seeing if we can just clear it just casually.
Right.
And to no anvil, basically. We died. And to get through, we ended up having to slow it way down. And something that I said was, I don't think not all players will have the tenacity and patience to slow things down that much just to achieve the objective. I fear some people might play it, feel like it's too slow, and it might not click with them.
For sure. Yeah, it's certainly for a specific crowd. I don't think if you were to have like a Venn diagram of audiences like between like Call of Duty and like this, there would be people left on the outskirts who won't quite vibe with what this game's selling. But we can obviously from Siege's popularity, we know that there is an audience for this stuff, for taking things slow and tactful. So it's certainly for someone.
Someone somewhere.
Someone somewhere will like this game quite a bit. Onto the game itself, sort of loop you go into when you jump in. You and up to 2 other people to make a squad of 3 go into a certain region which is kind of split into 3 sectors, and each sector has its own objective you have to complete, and some of these will feel very much similar to sort of classic Rainbow Six objectives, things like planting a bomb or saving like a hostage. Well, it would have been a hostage in previous games, but here it's like someone who's trapped by the parasite and getting them out of there. Whereas other objectives are kind of new. You're taking out like alien nests. You're trying to stealthily take out a specific Archaean, which is the name for some of the enemies in this game.
Yeah.
So in that regard, it kind of will feel familiar. It's kind of like 3 stages of like classic Rainbow Six game back to back with like this alien spin-off.
Yeah. There's 13 different objectives, if I remember correctly. It's nothing that you haven't seen before if you play video games. They're all spins on many different objective types from other games. The way they do it, it does feel nice. One in particular, when one of your characters goes MIA and you have to go and rescue them and you have to pull them from this arc tree, and it's sort of like a tug of war of you know, having to pull but also defend yourself and stop the tree from pulling back, which I think is really nice. It gives me like a Destiny raid mechanic sort of vibe, you know. I wish more of the objectives had that spin to it, instead of plant bomb, defend, or find the defend points. Is a slight limitation, but I think they're fine.
Yeah, they fulfill their purpose for sure. A lot of the objectives are kind of, like you said, sci-fi skins on classic things that we've seen before. And that MIA, rescuing an operator, is probably the highlight. It's perhaps the most unique one in the game. And it's fun enough.
Talk about that actually. The MIA mechanic and the operators going missing and your roster health. Talk about that loop since we're on it.
Right. So when you go into a mission, if things don't necessarily go right and you get clapped up, you get bodied, and you die in a mission, that character doesn't just respawn like nothing happened. Their health and their status carries back from missions. So if you finish a mission and you're a bit knocked up, like you're a bit damaged, your character will need to heal before they're at full strength again. At the worst, if you get knocked out in a mission, you're MIA, which basically means that you've been encased in this protective foam, and other operators you own have to go back into the mission you failed and recover them and bring them back by kind of chopping them out, pulling them out of this big alien tree. It's like made of hands. It's all very sci-fi, all very creepy. It's not necessarily as bad or as like disastrous as it may sound. What the game does that's quite lackluster, I would say, is that you can literally go on the same mission but turn the difficulty all the way down. So it's more of an annoyance. It's more like, I'm going to spend the time to go back and do this mission quick and grab my operator, and then I'm good to go. But it does add some risk and some consequences to your missions, which I suppose is a nice touch to it.
When I explained how your roster is managed to a friend, his first reaction was, that actually sounds pretty cool. And you're right. You are right. But, he's right. But as you said, it feels like a chore having to go and rescue them. As we wanted to play the higher difficulty missions, but our highest characters were low on health because we failed the previous mission, for example. It's annoying having to go on a different operator. Even if it's just 10 minutes, 10 minutes is still just flying through, just doing something pointlessly, just so you can actually go and play the game. It's annoying.
And you can't not do it as well, because when an operator is captured, all the XP they've gathered, like their level, is taken off a overall sort of like progression bar. Where the game works is that each operator has their own XP, and all the operators' XP is kind of pulled together to make this singular progression bar through the campaign. It's how the narrative is told. It's how you unlock new stuff, like new tech. So you can't just be like, nah, I'll leave them for later. You kind of have to go and do that, which I don't think hits the market it's intended to hit.
Yeah, it's an interesting mechanic that I'm not sure everyone is going to like. That I fear there's definitely going to be some backlash, some venom from the community for that one, for this particular mechanic. But the whole game is based around this mechanic. So there's no, I don't actually want to opt into this. This is the game. This is a core part of the game.
If there's another point that's a bit subpar, it's probably the customization. Now, you could argue in a game like this that the customization comes from the tech they've added, and that is fair to say. But when it comes to your weapons, the options you have been limited all the way down. You've essentially got your choice of sight, which is more of a personal preference choice. At best, you could argue that if you want to take things at a longer range, you would choose a longer range sight. But it's not a massive change to like what your gun does. It doesn't change the capabilities of what your weapon can do. And then there's your barrel customization, which essentially is broken down to whether or not you want a silencer, or whether or not you want an attachment like a compensator or a muzzle brake, something that would boost your damage. It's kind of a faux choice. It's like your options are really whether or not you want this weapon to be loud and more powerful, or whether or not you want to keep things quiet and be silent about it.
I think it doesn't make sense because the majority of the game, naturally, when you know the gist of the game, you are going to equip a silencer regardless. So it's a bit weird to have that option. I feel like silencers are going to be 90% of the time equipped. Also, the customization, I think the nature of the game, the setting of the game, I feel like they could have explored a bit more and have been a bit more experimental. Definitely with the weapon customization, give us some sights that can, see through walls. I know the torch, you can sort of do that, but even magazine types, I know it's a bit, looter shootery, but my mind goes to things like chain lightning magazine or flame magazine or just things like that, just get creative. And I thought maybe that could work in here. That's all I've got to say about that.
You've made the effort to make a full game release with this non-typical Rainbow Six setting. You've got these alien power sets and stuff. And at points it feels like they really do want to go wild with it. They want to go like really try out some new experimental stuff, make the part just not typical to the series, but they don't do that. So it kind of feels like it's stuck in this classic Rainbow Six way of thinking with the guns and the customization, but it's also the sci-fi game, and what it means is you're sacrificing some of the benefits of both attitudes. You don't have that weapon customization. You can't rappel down buildings anymore and have all the options you would see in the Siege. You are in the sci-fi world, but all the monsters and like enemies are they're all like, most of them are humanoid like figures that have cool abilities but aren't super distinct. A lot of the maps are kind of samey, especially early on, although it does get better when you go to Alaska. I feel like that's quite a highlight in terms of regions, but aside from that tile set, it is quite samey, and I do feel like they could have maybe had a bit more fun with it.
Yeah, I think they're trying to please two audiences: the Siege core community, and then the new players or people who might not be familiar with Siege and want just a new game to play. So the sci-fi setting is there. It says, hey, come and shoot some aliens. But
I feel like there's going to be a subgroup of Siege, of like not even Siege players, of Rainbow Six players who just on this game's concept aren't going to be on board. They're going to like their military stuff, they're going to like their breach and clear tactical gameplay, and they're going to see an alien and be like, whoa, that's not for me at all. So I don't know, I feel like they should have really gone wild.
They should have, because the Siege community, the Siege community, let's not beat around the bush here, they are a toxic bunch, and from Rainbow Six Extraction's announcement, they were not on board.
I mean, they like what they like. They've been into these sort of games for ages, and they see, and I would say a portion of the community. I perhaps wouldn't paint in the same brush, but it's only natural. A portion of the community aren't going to like this direction, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to make this game, you're never going to please them. But if you are going to play this game, you shouldn't do it on your own. You should get more. You should get two friends, or even use the quick play feature once the games are out there and there are more people playing it. Because on your own, it's kind of you really feel those sort of like chore aspects of it more. In a squad, the game's really at its best. You can properly reinforce locations. You can properly build a team composition, playing off other operators' strengths. And that is what you would expect from a Rainbow Six game. You would expect sort of like a team of operators going in and completing objectives. So this isn't that sort of game where you should really go in on your own. It really isn't.
Agreed. For one, the social aspect is it as well, not just it helps you in game, but for two, when you're doing the more choreful objectives, just have a bit of a chat with your mates. You can't underestimate that, how much easier that makes gameplay. You just being able to just speak about your day to your friends while you're doing something that you might not want to do. And when it gets more serious, that's when you can start doing the in-game comms and he's there, you know what I mean? And
right, no, for sure. Now, some people might point out and say, well, everything's more fun with people. Yeah. And they are right, but I just think because of the style of game this is, it is kind of built around having people in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just on the final note of like the game's longevity, I feel like Game Pass might come in for a save hit. As a solo purchase, I can see a lot of people seeing what this game has to offer and being like, I don't know if it's really for me to that degree where I'm willing to drop down $40 or original equivalent for it. But on Game Pass, if you and some friends already have this game accessible, it's perfectly fun to just jump in and play a few sessions of it. It kind of ensures that there will always be players around to complete some of the endgame modes that require a squad. It kind of ensures that there will always be at least a community willing to jump in and go through missions. So yeah, I feel like putting this game on the Game Pass is a massive save.
Yeah, and it also has a buddy pass as well.
It does, yeah.
So they want people to play the game. They want people to play the game. There's loads of options to counteract people who might be sitting on the fence, maybe to say, I don't want to bite the bullet and pay the whole $40. But if they just want to hop in and try, they can. The options are there. You spoke about longevity. I think this is one of those games that is very good for the moment, the launch period. I think people are going to have fun. For how long? That's to be answered.
I feel like we've talked about a lot of negative things with this game, and there are good reasons for doing so. But it is worth saying that, especially in this launch period, if you have Game Pass and you have some friends and you've got you want to find something to play this week, this game can be a lot of fun. It really can. I wouldn't say it's even a bad game. I would say it's a pretty, it's an okay game. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But it does have its weaknesses. It does, in some regard, feel like a missed opportunity and sort of like an experiment gone awry. So grab some friends and just jump in if you've got Game Pass. Or if you're a big Siege fan and just love the core of that gameplay, then maybe pick it up. You'll probably find something there for you, even if it isn't Game of the Year material.
That is very fair to say. This game, it can be fun. There is fun to be had with Rainbow Six Extraction.
Right.
And grab some friends, as Connor says. Go in, have a good time. And you know what? See for yourself. You've heard this review. Go and see for yourself, because the options are there for you to play it. Hope what we've said has been insightful to you as a listener. Any closing thoughts or?
I really like how when you alert the spool, how like the sludge spreads around. It's sort of like this game's filled with these small little things that don't quite push it over the edge for being amazing for me, but are kind of just neat to look at. It's clear the team worked hard on making this kind of like a special sort of like offshoot of the Rainbow Six series, and it's certainly like we said at the start, it's certainly for someone, and that someone could be you.
Could be.
So if you have Game Pass, which is a great deal already, just download it and give it a go.
Definitely. Right. So that concludes our review for Rainbow Six Extraction. It's releasing on the 20th of January, day one on Xbox Game Pass. It's releasing on all the systems you can think of, bar it's not coming out on PS3, but everything that you can assume, it's there. Play it, enjoy it. Peace out, everyone.
See ya.